Chances are, if you know someone who got their first mechanical keyboard, it was probably this one. The Redragon K552 may be one of the best-selling modern-day mechanical keyboards. This was also the first mechanical keyboard that I reviewed on this channel, and is really the keyboard that made what the channel is today. This is the keyboard that kicked it off. But that was a long time ago. I have now reviewed hundreds of keyboards, modded a ton, and built a ton. So now we're gonna see how this holds up to my enthusiast expectations, and if it's even still worth it in 2022. If at any point during the video you want to check out the K552 or any of the stuff I'm going to talk about in this video, there's Amazon links below for the US, UK, Canada, and international links, but let's jump into it. All right, but the first important thing, comparison. So this is the Tecware Phantom 87, probably the biggest competition for the K552. And then you have the Pulsar PK001, and this one is kind of competition. It's right in the price range. However, it's not hot swappable, so not really competition. And then the only other real competition would be the Keychron C1, but that one is in a whole nother price range. And there are some other budget TKLs that kind of compare to this, but they're really not even close to as good as these two. Now the Tecware Phantom, as of filming this, is 46 bucks, which I know is what it stays at. But this, which we're gonna unbox right now, this specific one, which is the Rainbow version, not the full RGB one, comes in, and get this, $33. And then the full RGB one comes in at 43 bucks, so $10 more. That's insane. Okay, so here is the board. A good looking board. A lot of people don't like the Redragon logo. It doesn't bother me, but as many people have seen, you can just remove it with an eraser, but a solid board. Okay, so now comparing these, this one is more expensive across the board. And these two forms, this one is $13 more. And that's not a lot, but when you're talking about a board that only costs 33 bucks, that's quite a bit. In stock form, they feel about the same with heaviness. They both feel like substantial boards. Now, which one you like the look of more? This one looks more premium, and it should, because it's a little bit more expensive. The top metal plate is kind of more open. It's a sit on top form factor rather than this one, which is more squared off. Now, personally, if this didn't have the Redragon logo here, I think this one looks better. However, this one does feel better in person. I don't really know. They both look very good. However, the clear difference is when you tap on the back of this. Not terrible, but definitely hollow. But when you tap on the back of this, and this is just the keycap puller moving around, so listen, there's foam inside of it. It has dampening inside of it. So that's right off the bat. This one has dampening inside of it, where this one doesn't. This one has PCB and case dampening. This one has neither of those, but that's a Redragon thing. They've never done that. I don't really mind that. It's fun to mod them. Now, as far as switch options, this one comes with Altemu red switches. Now, the Rainbow, which is the non-full RGB, only comes with red switches. Now, the Tecware Phantom also comes with Altemu switches. You have the choice between red, brown, or blue switches. So this is one big difference. You can get this with a bunch of different switch options. The K552, however, if you get it in the full RGB version, it's only blue switches. Or at least that's how it used to be. Maybe it's different. Yeah, so actually I'm wrong. It's actually 40 bucks and 43 bucks. 43 bucks for the white version right now, and this one I guess is on a little bit of a sale. But look, you can actually get it in blue, red, or brown switches, which I think that is fairly new, like only in the last couple of months. So that's awesome. That fully matches up. But this version, again, just the Rainbow version, no full RGB, no per key RGB, just comes in red switches, which I think is a good thing. Okay, now overall build quality. This thing is so dang solid. You literally cannot flex this thing. It's a brick. Because of that, it's fantastic for modding. It feels nice to tap away on because it's a solid board. It also has flip-up risers, which are very springy. They're very sturdy and strong. Nice rubber here. Everything was built like an absolute tank, and that's a really, really good thing. Now, over here on the Tecware Phantom, this is also a very solid board. It does have a teeny, and I mean the smallest amount of flex when compared to the K552. However, it is still a very solid board, just like the K552. Although this one feels a little bit sleeker, this one feels like a freaking tank. It literally does. It feels like a tank. All right, now one of the most important things, if not the most important thing of any keyboard, especially budget keyboards, is stabilizers. The Tecware Phantom does stabilizers probably better than anyone else in this price range. Absolutely fantastic. Now the K552. Now, as far as lubing wise, that's actually really good, but you can hear the Tecware Phantom. I mean, that is really, really well tuned. The spacebar on this one, it's just not quite as good. That being said, it can be upgraded. But now let's move on to the overall switch feel. So when comparing these, and do keep in mind, these are both Aotemu red switches. So the inherent difference between these two is the keycaps on these are considerably better than on these. But again, remember, $13 difference, that is huge. That's a very big thing. Unless you go for the full RGB version, and if you're comparing apples to apples, this one's gonna have the same keycaps. This wins 10 out of 10 times. And most of that tinnier sound is coming from the keycaps here because these are the same switches. The K552 feels very solid when typing on, but this one feels a little bit more solid because of that dampening. This one you can kind of feel that there's vibrations in it. It's a little bit hollow, whereas this one has that dampening. Now again, that's not something to do with the case and the plate, but more the dampening inside of it. So this can be upgraded fairly easily on this, and I have done that, and it has made it feel basically the same as this one, slightly more because I used more thick dampening butyl rubber in it. However, this is not scientific enough. Take a listen to the full sound test between the Tecware Phantom 87 and the K552. Take a listen. And that is how it sounds. You can obviously hear this one feels so much better. The other thing that you do have to keep in mind is these Aotemu red switches have spring ping across the board. They have bad spring ping that can easily be mitigated by lubing them, which I've done on some modded boards before, but there is spring ping. That's just what you have. All right, now for RGB, if you are a gamer, this one has fantastic RGB, and this one has good-ish bad RGB in the rainbow form. So if you're just gonna mod it and put some cool non-shine through keycaps, get the cheaper one. That makes absolutely no difference. But if you do want the RGB, go for the full RGB one. It is nice and bright. It does have perky lighting. You can do anything you want with it. Put puddings on it, whatever you want. It's nice. Both of them are pretty much equal in that regard. But now let's talk about hot swap ability. Now you can see there, that is an Aotemu hot swap socket. It's a 3-pin with those 2 little circles for the hot swap ability-ness. If we go over to this one, we can also pull it off, and you can see again, same deal. The little 2 circles with the 3-pin variant. This is an Aotemu only hot swap socket. What that means basically is that you need these switches to fit in those sockets. You can't just put any switch you want in these sockets. That being said, the self-proclaimed budget mechanical keyboard king has the biggest loophole around that, which is Akko Switches. You guys have heard me push these a million times. Akko Switches will fit in these hot swap sockets. Here's my random switch tray right here. Let's find an Akko switch. There is a jelly white right there, and we can see putting this in. Actually, first let's try, okay, we'll try putting a sea salt lemon in there, and yeah, not gonna go in, it's not gonna work. Don't wanna mess with that or break it, but we have our jelly white right here, placing that in, and boom, right in there. Let's put the keycap back on. And boom, it works. Now you got Akko switches. Now Akko switches are a mid-grade switch, or what you would call a budget switch if you're talking to an enthusiast, but compared to an Aotemu switch, these would be considered like bottom of the barrel. You can't get much worse than an Aotemu switch. Akko also has a huge family of a ton of different switches, linears, tactiles, tons of different weights, sounds, and feels. I'll also link those below to Amazon, but for that single reason, both of these boards right here can be upgraded to custom keyboard territory. So you can make both of these under $50 boards that are really good in stock form. You can make them sound like a full custom. And also, should I? Because when I modded the K552, I didn't really make it that good because it was really just a beginner kind of modding guide. It was very loose and very easy and very simple. Should I make a real full mod of the K552? Leave a comment below and I'll do it in the next video if you guys want that. Okay, but what about ease of upgrade? Let's say you want to mod your Tecware Phantom or your K552. Well, right off the bat, you're gonna have to take off these keycaps, and you don't necessarily need to take off the switches. But as far as to get these open, there are case screws on the tops of these, and you can see the little screw hole right there. Now, in the K552, there are 10 screw holes. In this one, there are 13. That being said, this one already has case dampening although I would replace it, so that doesn't make any difference there. This one also has plate and PCB dampening, which is pretty good. It's not the best plate and PCB dampening, so I would replace both of those if I was going to mod them. So I would say if you want to mod this one or the Tecware Phantom, I wouldn't say choose the Tecware Phantom over this one. I would say definitely do it by just your preference of how they look. I personally prefer the way the K552 looks, although I recommend the Tecware Phantom much more unless you're going to mod it, because if you're going to mod it, you're going to replace the case foam and the PCB foam and everything anyway, so why not just get the one that you like the look of more? And this one has less screws, so it's easier. But the final question, is the Redragon K552 still worth it in 2022? I would say yes, absolutely. It's still one of the best first mechanical keyboards out there, especially if you want to mod it in the future. However, if you do just want a really good keyboard out of the box, the Tecware Phantom 87 is still the better keyboard out of the box for sure. But again, if you want to check out either of these keyboards or the Akko Switches, there's Amazon links below for the US, UK, Canada, and international links. And also, if you want to learn more about those Akko Switches, check out this video right here. Click on that. I go through every single Akko Switch. So if you don't know which Akko Switch you want to upgrade your K552 or Tecware Phantom, check that video out right here. But this is a Consumer Tech Review, and I'll see you guys in the next video.